Hello everyone, just Goran here and welcome back to another Planet Zoo real life inspiration video, and today we are looking at the beautiful Aldabra Giant Tortoise over here. And we are starting at the Aachener Tierpark. This is a small zoo in Germany, right across the Dutch border in the south, and we have a lovely building for the giant Aldabra tortoise over here, where you have some indoor viewing, which was definitely necessary right now because I visited the zoo in the winter, so it was quite a bit too cold for the tortoises to come outside. But yeah, you can look through this window and see kind of their indoor habitat. They got some nice plants decorated a little bit, and yeah, we can see a tortoise right there. Let's look through one more window, which was occupied just a moment before. And these are some really beautiful ones. I love how dark the shells of these ones are. We'll actually see. It's interesting to see how different these tortoises can actually look. We'll see that as we get through all the footage. But yeah, as we continue walking over here past the cheetah habitat, we also see the outdoor yard. So they can just leave that little building, and yeah, just a small picket fence, or whatever you call this type of fence. I tried looking it up. It's in Dutch, it's called like a sheep fence, or an English sheep fence even, but I can't find the English word for it. So anyway, on to the next zoo, which is Dierenpark Amersfoort. And we're in the dino area of the zoo, which is where we find a building for the giant Aldabra tortoise, or the Aldabra Giant Tortoise. And we have a little view over here of the indoor area of the kitchen, where they prepare the food for the tortoises, as well as where there's some holding for the free-flying birds that are in this area. But yeah, here you can see the giant tortoises, and they're looking super awesome over there as well. They have a lot of them, and the ones in here are probably among some of the biggest I've seen. And yeah, over there you can see one of the birds, or should I say dinosaurs, that are in this building as well. And it's a lovely large open building. Just lots of light. It's completely like, yeah, glass, or even the roof is like transparent in some way. And yeah, here you got a beautiful, beautiful giant Aldabra Giant Tortoise. See, the order of the words is very important to me. But anyway, he is enjoying some straw, some hay, whatever you call it. And yeah, just another look of that entire building. And also here is where the birds can get away into that backstage area, and we get a bit of a cleaner look at the kitchen over here. Pretty freaking cool if you ask me. So yeah, also the signage of the zoo, very limited, kind of a bummer. Cool bench, some people. And I like the barrier here as well. It's very natural, it's very limited in a way, and you'll see that a lot for these tortoises. Of course, they aren't the best climbers because they are heavy as all hell. So yeah, you can actually get away with very limited barriers. So here on the outside you get a look of what that building looks like from the outside, and there's also some tortoises out here. And then you start the dino trail, and eventually you also come to the outdoor habitat, which I didn't film much of because well, it was winter, it doesn't look that great anyway. Anyway, next zoo is the Zoo of Amsterdam, Artis, and we get to the Aldabra Giant Tortoises over here. I think it's somewhere close to the gorillas. Yes, it is, because the indoor area of the tortoises is also the indoor viewing of the gorillas, which we'll see. But yeah, they got quite a sturdy barrier actually compared to some of the other stuff. Oh, I should probably blur that. I found out the other day that you cannot show animals mating on YouTube without being demonetized. I did not learn the hard way, luckily, yet. But I should probably be careful, because I do like to show that sort of stuff, because it's funny. And I mean educational. Anyway, yeah, we saw the indoor area of the gorillas over there, but this is also where we find the indoor area of the Aldabra Giant Tortoise, right over here. So it looks like it used to be open, but they put glass there now. At least that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It might have always been a glass barrier. But yeah, you can see one of them is back there. I actually wonder if you can get out of there, because the spacing between those poles does not seem very big. And yeah, there's also another species of tortoise over here. I didn't write down which one. I'm sorry. You'll have to wait for another time to find out. Or you can read the sign. No, you can't. Anyway, next up is the Zoo of Duisburg. This is in Germany once again. And we got an indoor viewing of the tortoise habitat over here. It's kind of like a little side building attached to the main tropical house of the zoo. Tropical house slash aquarium. And yeah, slash Aldabra Giant Tortoise indoor area, I guess. And when it comes to the outdoor habitat, it's also really quite nice. There's a lot of foliage with all the bamboo and stuff. And very simple, low barriers. You really get a good view into the habitat without it being too obstructed. Across from the tortoise habitat is an otter habitat. And the reason I'm showing it is because they made it look like the water is kind of attached to the otter habitat. I don't think it is. I don't think the otters can get into the tortoise habitat. But they made it look like they could, which is kind of fun. I really like that sort of integration between habitats in a way. And yeah, over here we get one more look into the tortoise habitat, and we'll be on our way to the next zoo. And the next zoo is going to be ReptielenZoo Iguana, or ReptielenZoo Iguana. And this is part zoo, but mostly a rescue center for reptiles that get caught in like illegal smuggling, like illegal pet trade, that sort of stuff. This is a zoo that takes those animals in and gives them a home and tries to send them back to where they belong. And this is the giant tortoise area. You've got a separation between a big habitat and a smaller one. I'm not sure what the divide here is. I don't think they had giant Aldabra giant tortoises when I was here, but I have seen pictures of them being in this space as well. At the moment, I think the tortoise we can see over there is a Galapagos giant tortoise. So you will see this video or again in the Galapagos giant tortoise video whenever that one comes out, I guess. There's actually a lot less Galapagos giant tortoises in zoos than Aldabra giant tortoises, which is kind of surprising. You feel like the Galapagos one is more well known, but I guess Galapagos animals are a bit more protected. Anyway, Zoo Krefeld is next, and Zoo Krefeld has probably one of the biggest Aldabra giant tortoise habitats out there that I've seen. We've got a pretty lovely indoor area with some like mud walls, some foliage on the inside to make it look a bit more interesting, a bit more lively. And what you also see, I haven't really pointed it out yet, that is each indoor area does have a nice little bath area. Looks like there's no water in it at the moment, but in the bottom right there you can see it here. So yeah, that is probably a requirement that you should keep in mind if you ever make a giant tortoise habitat yourself. Also a staple for any tortoise area, or just any area. Like you see this in zoos that don't even have tortoises, or you see it in areas where the tortoises aren't even around sometimes. There's little things where you can like crawl into as a kid and pretend you're a tortoise. But yeah, over here is the outdoor yard, and we can see that it is absolutely huge. You can't see the full extent of it yet. This is about a third of it that we're looking at right now. And yeah, you can see a tortoise sitting there. It's actually the thumbnail tortoise right over there. But yeah, there's just a ton of little viewing areas like the one we're just standing at throughout this place, because yeah, it is huge. You can just walk all the way around it, and you can see over here there's some sort of separation part in between this lake area and the other area. I guess they can block this off for the tortoises if they don't want them to wander too far. I suppose you can also use poles like this to separate the bigger tortoises from the smaller ones, because yeah, at some point they're not going to be able to fit through there anymore just because of how big they get. But yeah, now from the other side we've walked all the way around it, and here we can see those legs one more time. And yeah, again, very simple fencing, slight overhang to prevent some climbing, I guess maybe for the smaller tortoises, the ones that aren't completely fully grown yet. They want to prevent any escapes that way. But yeah, just walking along this habitat, you can see how ridiculously big it is. But from this side we do get to see the front of that indoor building a little bit better, and how overgrown it is, and just, it looks really, really cool. And yeah, just gonna have one last look at that building from the other side. And here you can also see a little tortoise statue. You actually see it in a lot of these, which is a nice recurring theme, I guess. But now it is time to move to the next zoo, which is going to be the Zoo of Lille. It's a French zoo right across the Belgian border, and it's a rather small zoo, but they do have some quite nice animals and habitats. This Aldabra Giant Tortoise Habitat over here is a bit on the smaller side, especially compared to Krefeld, but it's definitely not too small by any means. Yeah, they got this nice little outdoor yard over here, couple of plants, couple of things, couple of rocks, and we do see another anti-climbing barrier, but I don't think that one is for the tortoises, as we'll see in a moment as we come to the inside of the building over here. The Aldabra Giant Tortoise Habitat is kind of the center of this building, so as you make your way through it, you're going to be walking all around the indoor space of the Aldabra Giant Tortoise over here. And it has, as you can see, some climbable branches and things. Oh, what's that about? Well, we can see it sleeping right there on the right. This habitat also has an iguana in it, so I'm guessing the anti-climbing on the outside is probably mostly there for the iguana and not for the tortoises. So one thing I really like is the kind of straw things around the lamps, and of course we can see a nice big water feature in the middle over as well, as we saw in the other indoor spaces too. Yeah, really nice indoor area for the giant tortoise. And then yeah, when you come back outside on the other side of the habitat, going all the way around it, we get another view of their habitat from this side. And you can see, oh hey, I didn't even notice that nice big tree before. That's really cool. So yeah, that was the Zoo of Lille. Now it's time to move to the next zoo, and that will be Monde Sauvage, or Wild World Safari Park. This is a small safari park in Liège in Belgium, and the Aldabra Giant Tortoise have a lovely habitat kind of near the entrance, near the parking lot over here, and it has probably one of the most unique fences of them all. They all have pretty unique fences, to be honest. You can really get creative when it comes to tortoises, I feel like, because of how limited their movement is. You can make really creative kind of barriers for them. In this case, a nice, like, just a whole bunch of logs, really. And of course they're way too big to go through those. And I think there is concrete at the bottom there that the logs are stuck into, also to prevent digging and things probably. But yeah, there we got our giant freaking tortoise sitting in the middle there. Really big one. And then a small little backstage indoor shack over here, and we can actually see a tortoise sitting inside over there as well, underneath all of these heat lamps. And yeah, you can see they've got some sort of like way to separate them as well if need be, but other than that, yeah, it's just a simple shack, all you really need for the tortoises. As you can see, same little pond in the middle, and yeah, here you can see more of the other side of it. There's also like it's probably not an air conditioner, it's probably a heater. But it is time for the next zoo. This is Ouwehands Dierenpark. Nice big zoo in the Netherlands as well. And we got a pretty large indoor area for the Aldabra Giant Tortoises over here, which is really cool. You've got a bridge kind of going over top of them, so the tortoises can actually get underneath you, which is kind of the unique one of this habitat. Actually, I think these are some of the most diverse habitats that we've seen in this series before. There's so many like small differences, but they all have their own way to set each other apart. But yeah, we got the giant Aldabra Giant Tortoise right over there. Got some nice plants, got little fences to separate them from each other, separate the bigger ones from the smaller ones. Maybe they're trying to avoid breeding, because from what I've heard, these breed quite easily. Like if you just let them go, they will go nuts. I have actually seen them breed on several occasions, I think. So yeah, pretty interesting little fact for you over there. Yeah, these ones are all a little bit smaller than the other ones. They're eating some nice lettuce or whatever that is. And yeah, from over here in this little alcove, we got a look into a small kitchen area. Always nice to see that. Always interesting. I got some turtle themed things on the wall as well. There's also this viewing area into a completely different habitat. This is actually a tiger habitat that we're looking at right now. So yeah, it's nice and it's interesting to see them use a different animal's space to create viewing of other animals. It's always kind of cool. And yeah, after a while of walking around, you get to the outside of this habitat as well, and you see the little nice kind of tropical greenhouse kind of thing, and then a nice grassy field for the tortoises over here. You can see a bunch of them outside as well, and that is it for Ouwehands. So let's move to the last zoo already, and that is going to be Pairi Daiza, the big big Belgian zoo. And the Aldabra Giant Tortoises are in this little tropical house near the entrance. This is the Oasis, and yeah, the Oasis has this admittedly not too big Aldabra Giant Tortoise habitat. No outdoor area either. This is all that they really have in this zoo. And yeah, it's pretty nice. It's nice and lush, green, very quite cool. Yeah, not a whole lot else I have really to say about this because yeah, I mean, we've seen so many habitats at this point. I will just say, look at those tortoises. They don't look very good. Apparently, this is like a thing that happens when they're little. If they don't have proper heat or humidity or food, their shells might deform a little bit. I don't know if this is Pairi Daiza's fault or if it's the fault of whoever they got the tortoises from. But yeah, it doesn't look too great. But oh well, there's not a lot you can do at this point. Now that they've all grown up. So yeah, that is the Oasis, and that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed seeing some Aldabra Giant Tortoise habitats, and I will see you next week. We're gonna look at a different kind of reptile. So see you then. Bye bye.